Good afternoon, everybody. Coming to you live just outside Grantville, Pennsylvania. We're back after my crazy long doctor's appointment, which I figured it would go really long. Most of the time was spent waiting, but that's okay. I brought a good book to read, so it wasn't too bad. We're headed back now. Oh, there's some Hershey trolley works right here. They got the trolleys out right now. That's kind of cool. I didn't know we had trolleys in Hershey. I wonder if they do rides. Figured hop back on and see if anybody's interested in talking about current events or what they're doing. I know for us, we've been thinking about trying to do a garden this year. We're kind of behind, but doing what we can when we can. Got some sunflowers, tomatoes, peppers, basil.
Potatoes.
I'm trying to think what else.
Anything else?
Eggplant.
Figure out.
Eggplant. Drowning an eggplant. I'm trying to grow a sweet potato. It's rooting, but it still hasn't put any shoots up.
I noticed that.
I don't. From the videos I saw online to root a sweet potato to get this, because you got to get the shoots out of it to to actually plant the. I forget what they call them. You cut those shoots off and then you plant those. They say it takes at least a month, and honestly, I don't remember when I started it, so.
Wonder if it would benefit by being outside in the sunlight.
Yeah, they say the more light you can give it, the more it's stimulates the growing hormone to make it grow. So I guess we could try putting it outside. I was just worried that something would try to eat it. You know, being a potato. But I don't know. I also have two zinnias and one. What is the other flower called?
Marigolds?
Marigolds. I planted a whole bunch, but only one came up, which was kind of sad. I'm trying to think what else. Tried to plant dill. It kind of got too leggy, so I kind of had to cut it short. Say, I'll have to start the dill over, which is unfortunate, but hey. We also have celery. Celery is the other thing. I got actually celery seeds that I planted, and also some celery that I got organically from the grocery store that you can cut the ends off, leaving 1 to 2 inches, and then you put it in a bowl of a cup of water, and in a few days it starts to root, and then once you get to a decent amount of roots, you put it in some potting soil, and it actually starts to grow. I don't know how much it'll grow, because technically celery is a biennial plant, so usually the first year you can eat it, and the second year it does more seed production than eating. So, but it's growing leaves, which is an interesting experiment. I still got oregano from 2 years ago that's still growing, and parsley that's still growing. Oh, we got the peppers that have been hanging out in the winter. That's a jalapeno and 2 bell peppers. We got some garlic growing. Gotta plant some garlic too. The ones in your room. What else? I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe that is everything. Different varieties of tomatoes. I didn't do any cucumbers. I don't know. I'd like to do the cucumbers. I just don't know if we're going to have the time.
Yeah, it's just been too much going on.
Gotten too politically involved locally to try to help change things locally, which, both are good things, so.
So we have to starve now.
Yeah, I guess it's tomatoes. But, last year our cucumbers did hardly anything. It was all this effort for nothing. It felt like. We got maybe 4 little tiny cucumbers. And then we also tried to do squash last year, and it just got attacked. Like bugs. Like zucchinis. That's what I meant. So it's it's so frustrating to go through all that effort. Start them inside, put them in bigger pots, and then transplant them just to have them just die. But we also had a drought last year, so that definitely didn't help. We had all the rain in the spring and then nothing in the summer.
Our garden soil needs a lot of work too.
Yeah. I've got some compost that we got to try to put in. So.
You can't grow good stuff in bad soil.
No, and I think that's part of the reason why some people say some of the farmland isn't as good as it used to be decades ago. Is I feel like it might have just been that farmers weren't using the best regenerative practices. You want to do crop rotation and stuff, but you actually want to grow what they call cover crops and stuff to help regenerate the soil. And if you're constantly just growing corn or soybeans, you're not going to replenish the soil. In fact, you're going to take a lot of nitrogen, right, that they're heavy feeders on.
I think soybeans actually are legumes. They put nitrogen back in the soil.
But corn, though, isn't that a nitrogen?
Yeah, that's a very heavy user.
So, like, that feeds on a lot of nitrogen, so. Beans are really good for regenerative soils. I know we did some beans last year. We actually did pretty decent considering we planted them about 2 weeks too late. We got a few pounds of beans, which was a few, yeah. Was it pounds or, I don't know. It was like over a pound of beans, I think. But we planted them late. Because you can actually plant them in the fall where we live in Pennsylvania. You do it in early August. We kind of did it late August. Well, it depends on when your frost tends to hit in the fall. Our watermelons failed last year too, but I think part of that was the drought. We had 2 baby watermelons. They grew to be like the size of, I don't know, a tennis ball. And then they just stopped growing. I thought maybe they would just ripen and we could eat them, but one went rotten and the other got infected by some kind of bug that looked like the thing had eyes. Remember that? It bored out eye holes in the watermelon. So, you know, I forgot to plant pumpkins. I guess I should do that. Sunflowers is something I'm trying new this year because you can actually save the seeds and eat the seeds as like a protein source, which is nice. But supposedly they get up to be 12 feet high, which is very tall. Ours might not get that big though, since we had them inside so long. Tried to grow chives, but the seeds never sprouted. I think the biggest thing that helped us kick off our growing was getting a heat mat. That was a huge difference in terms of sprouting time for germination. I just remember before it would take almost 4 weeks for our pepper seeds to sprout. But we had them probably within 10 days. So that was pretty cool. And the tomatoes normally take between 5 to 7. And we had some tomato seeds coming up within 3 to 4 days. So definitely made a difference.
Yeah, we don't keep our house very warm in the wintertime, so
It always made germination difficult.
the mat really made a difference.
We had so much more, for the seeds that were viable anyway, much greater success rate for germination. I think the chive seeds that we bought must have just gotten wet or something at some point because nothing happened. So either that or I just didn't have the moisture content the right way for it. I don't know. Kind of learning as we go. Oh, and the other things that didn't sprout were onions. We got some onion seeds. None of those sprouted either, which is disappointing. I think it would be cool to try to go to some of the farmers markets to get some produce this year. So our local grocery stores don't have the best. Brussels sprouts, that's what I'm forgetting. We have 4 Brussels sprout plants.
Do we?
Yeah. 4 out of 6 sprouted. It's like, I know I'm missing one. I just transplanted a whole bunch the other day. It's like, there's something I'm missing.
Coming into the town of Ono.
Oh, no. It's a cute little town.
We're going east on old US Route 22.
You hear the birds singing. They're really loud today.
We're in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania.
Nice American flag.
Yeah, our garden is not going according to plan this year.
No, it definitely isn't. Corn was on the list. I don't know, is it too late for corn now? I don't even know.
We do everything in the next 3 days, we should be good.
Oh dear. Or should say, oh no. Spring flowers, 1 mile.
Well, let's see. Some of those corns take, 90 days?
Yeah.
So you have June, July, and August. So, yeah, theoretically, I think you could get them in.
It's tough. But it's especially hard because I can't do a lot of it because of my ongoing health issues. Which makes it hard. And right now, I'm super sun sensitive thanks to a nice tick bite. So I'm on doxycycline right now to try to prevent another bout of Lyme disease and other co-infections. So I have to be a vampire.
Gardening at night.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. My brother's the king of lights, right? The only downside is he got bugs at night.
We set up the bug light, and that seemed to make a difference.
It did make a difference. Because we actually did garden last summer in the dark. Because we had so much hot weather that it was so uncomfortable to be outside. Like, even in the evening, it was just way too hot.
It's the worst, it seems, because the dew point drops. The dew point rises. I guess technically the temperature drops to the dew point is what happens near sunset, and so it feels really
Muggy.
uncomfortable.
We also had more of a breeze at night, it seemed, than during the day.
So even though it's cooling off, it's clammy feeling outside.
That's a good way to describe it. Clammy, muggy, sweltery, sticky.
And in the early morning, everything's wet with the dew.
Well,
so.
that is one downside at night. It's just, assuming if you cut your grass really short, it's not a problem. But like going back in to put stuff away, you'll get your feet soaked in the grass if you're not wearing boots. Which I can't really wear boots with my foot problems, so it's kind of sucky. That looks like that might be lavender.
Looks pretty.
Yeah. I tried growing lavender.
It says on the left.
I don't know. They're pretty, whatever they are. Are they roses?
I don't know.
They might be rose bushes. Jonestown. Or is it just Jonestown Beer and Soda?
We're on the outskirts of Jonestown.
Yeah, I guess that's why they use the name. There it is. Welcome to Jonestown. So in the morning stream, I mentioned about how don't just sign the consent forms when you go in for a doctor's appointment or medical procedure. And they gave me grief about it. They didn't like. They're like, you do realize you'll have to fill this out every single time. It's like, I don't care. Because apparently if you sign the digital one, it's good for a year.
Oh, really?
But the thing is I can't get back till next year anyway because they're completely booked. So it's only once a year I'm doing it anyway, so it doesn't matter. Because my doctor's booked out 8 months.
Really?
Yeah. My next appointment's in January of next year. So at the end, I was wishing the receptionist, okay, happy 4th of July, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I don't know how much my doctor likes it. She seemed a little bit stressed out. It almost seems like they're putting too many patients on her list.
town square here in
I
Jonestown.
love the big town square. It's so cool. They got a big laundromat too, right next to the chiropractor center. Your laundry and back-breaking laundry, and then go get your back adjusted. I've always wanted to try the pizza place up here.
Try to go right, try to find our way home that way.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because he thought that was a one-way road and you could be on this side of it.
I have no idea. It's a Lowe's delivery truck apparently. Something else I'm hoping that we can get back to this summer is get back into doing some astronomy, maybe go to Cherry Springs again, because that was fun. But we gotta see how things go.
I feel like I'm still recovering from the election.
It was we did a lot in the last week up to the election. We were door knocking, I was calling people, and then of course we were putting signs out and getting training on how to be a poll greeter, and actually going there at 7. It was probably, I don't know, 20 minutes after.
Yeah, we weren't planning to do that.
No, but since nobody else could do the morning shift at our one poll, we're like, I guess we should do it. And I'm glad we did, because it seems like a lot more people came in the morning for that location.
It's an interesting intersection.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wow, you can actually go through there, too. Interesting. But it was really nice to meet people at the polls, talk about the solar farms they're trying to put in down the road, and have people sign the petition against it. So that was cool.
Some of them are really friendly and talkative. You get into all sorts of things.
I know, the conversations would go all over the place. I loved it. It was really cool. When I went to the other poll, I didn't really have as much time to have those types of conversations because there was just too many people coming in and out. It was like a big party over at my poll, which was nice. It made the time go really fast. Like, I was like, really? It's been 2 hours? And I'm like, and you said you were chatting. I was like, I'm having a blast here, so just come over whenever. So, and then we went and got some lunch, and then we went caught up with our friend who's over in Windsor Township running a writing campaign for township supervisor. So we checked in with them for a little bit, so that was cool. And then we headed back to the polls to do the rest of the evening shift at the one. And then we stayed at the end to grab all the signs and grab the vote tallies, and then took a quick run home to drop things off, and then ran off to our after get together with our group for our school board group. So
Yeah, we had a nice post-election party.
yeah, though I don't think any one of us really felt like partying. We were all drained. It was more of a quiet party.
Yeah, it was subdued.
It was just, food, snacks, drinks, and good job, high fives, kind of thing. So it was nice though. It's clear on the right. But it was nice for sure. The house that we had it in had really cool, what do you call those? When they have animals.
Trophy room?
Yeah. I think there's a different name for it, but they had a turkey. I don't know. I wish I would have been more awake at that point, but it had been such a long day that I don't even know what the other animals were. I think one might have been an elk. I don't know. It looked really cool though. So then we gotta do it all in the fall. So I guess we'll be doing some strategizing and figuring out the fall plan. But highly recommend if you've never been a pole grader. Like, I want to rename it to Bumpyvania. These roads are not very good. And it's not like it's potholes. It's just ditches.
We're not that far from 22 or 78, just a little bit south. I think this is the road to Lebanon.
There's a lot of traffic on it.
Yeah, it's a busy road. Take a bit to cross it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got endless traffic on the right. Is there any way you can inch out more? I don't. One more guy coming. 2 more. I have a break after the white one. Still clear.
I might have a break after the motorcyclist.
That's still clear so far. Yeah, a lot of traffic, but it's at the time of day, so. But running for office, help a candidate, be a poll grader, or get the training to be a poll watcher. We always could use more poll watchers. Poll watchers get to be inside during the day and watch the polls. Poll graders are outside.
Which can be fun on a rainy day.
Yeah, pray for good weather. We were very lucky that we had a very nice day for election day. It was about, 77 degrees, sunny. Your poll was really nice because it had trees that you could stay in the shade most of the day.
Yeah, I had to move the table a few times to follow the sun.
Yeah. At my poll, there was no shade at all, really. Until later in the day.
Does that mean all this farmland could be at risk of solar farms?
It could. Windsor Township is because a few weeks ago. Allergy season this year has been horrendous. My allergies have been through the roof compared to last year. I don't know why.
I don't know, maybe the milder winter has something to do with that.
Maybe.
It's climate change.
Because even our candidate for school board says his allergies were like so much worse this year than last year too.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just me, it's other people.
You were navigating and handing him facial tissues.
Yeah. I feel so bad. It's like the post-nasal drip, and then it's like when you sleep, your nose gets all congested, and you just wake up with this sore throat every day, which is annoying. Gonna put me on a mast cell stabilizer.
A what?
Mast cell stabilizer, which supposedly helps with allergies, because apparently you create a lot of mast cells with allergy reactions. So, I guess it reduces it. I've never tried anything like that before, so that'll be interesting. It's much better than normal allergy medication. For the convoy. A hawk? That's so cool. You just
overhead?
Overhead. You just peck the tail feathers of a hawk. That's interesting. That reminds me of yesterday when the groundhog was chasing the crow around in the garden. I never knew a groundhog would go after a crow. The crow was being very vocal. I guess the groundhog didn't like it. kind of walked in on the situation when I saw it looking out my window. I was like, concrete. Oh, we should have switched this to
And then up here it ends.
on the right. That's one of the things I noticed when we did some of the videoing for a project in our area. It's like I never realized. Like I always appreciate it where we live, but I didn't realize how much beauty we really have near us. You know.
It's Blue Mountain straight ahead. The first ridge of the Appalachians. It's all part of the Great Valley that we're in here. It extends all the way south into Virginia.
Oh wow! Didn't realize they went that far. Right along the highway right here. It's really close.
Yeah. Never been able to figure out if there's any remnant of old 22 through here. We kind of figure that the new highway was built over top of the old one for most of it.
And this meadow's full of yellow wildflowers. I like that barn. That's cute. The way they designed it.
It's an old bridge.
Yeah, very narrow. Meckville Road. I saw a sign for Meckville before we turned over. Meckville must be nearby.
Yeah, that might be south of here. Here's a way to travel.
Oh wow, that's cool looking. I like that. It's got a little basket and everything to put stuff in it.
Big tricycle.
That's cool. That's really cool. That guy's got solar panels on his roof. They look like the big kind though.
Got to zigzag a bit to get around the highway if you don't want to take the highway.
Yeah.
We're actually in Berks County now. We crossed over last mile or two.
You missed a good road sign on the back there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It said impeach Biden and Harris.
Oh really?
Yeah. There's a
What?
little handmade one in their garden.
Oh wow.
It's cute.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get a lot of traction with that sign out here.
No.
folks will vote for tyranny in surveillance states.
I think many people will.
Vote for world order control.
I think some will do that because they don't understand the repercussions of doing so. Just talking to some people my age, they're not politically involved. I asked them, like, why aren't you politically involved? And some of the responses were, I just don't have time with my job. Some of them are just, I just don't care unless it affects me personally. Some of them just kind of vote the way their family voted, and they don't really do their research as to why they vote that way. And then some people vote not because they like a specific candidate, but they're voting against another candidate, you know. Like Alan Dershowitz, for example, you know. He's a Democrat, but he doesn't really like the party, he doesn't really like the candidate, but he didn't want to vote for Trump, so he voted for Biden. I feel like it'd be nice to change politics that you actually want to vote for the candidate. I think that would be nice. But I don't know how we fix that to get to that. We need better candidates to run, I think is one thing. But I don't know how you get people to want to be involved. Because most people, at least conservatives anyway, just want to be left alone. Like, you do you, I do me, you know? Which I get.
Now this will be kind of a mystery which way to go, because this is all changed.
Whatever this place is no longer existing. Look at grass growing in their parking lot.
This road was here, but there's a big industrial park up ahead. I know we've twisted and turned our way through there before.
Did you want me to look at a map?
Yeah. Just enjoy the view.
Well, that's what I prefer, because I'm kind of tired. It's been a long day yesterday, and just in general. Chickens! They got chickens.
Once I came this way on Dobb Road, because I saw it, you can get on it earlier, but it's
gravel.
Yeah, it is all gravel.
Be dusty. Kind of remind me of like the convoys, how all that was like on gravel at Hagerstown, and how dusty it'd be when you came back in with the trucks.
Oh yeah.
They just kick up all this dust. It felt like you were eating dust.
Dusty or muddy?
Yeah. We were lucky when we visited. It was shortly after it rained, so it wasn't as dusty as other times.
Yeah, there wasn't that much mud. It dried up pretty good.
It reminds me, though, that the 1776 Restoration Movement just had their 1-year anniversary reunion get-together. I think it was this past weekend. I didn't know about it. I only found out after the fact when a friend of mine shared some photos on Facebook. I was like, oh, I wish I would have known. It would have been cool to see some people again. For any of our viewers that are, still following them or interested in what's going on, I did find out that Big D and Hippie Mama are expecting a baby boy this summer. So that's kind of exciting. And they did a gender reveal using the fire truck.
Of course. It's neat to see that fire truck's still operational.
Yeah, that is just, I love the fire truck. That was one of my favorite vehicles in the convoy, was the fire truck. It didn't exist when we visited the convoy because he bought it out in California and drove it back.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things, he saw it for sale and he's like, I want to buy a fire truck. And he went and bought it, so.
It came in handy once out there.
Yeah, he got to spray Antifa supposedly out in Portland. So they were throwing, I don't know what they were throwing, something containing paint at vehicles, so he hosed them down, which they were not happy about.
That was definitely a memorable time.
Yeah.
So this is what our Berks County Commissioners envision for our whole county. This is their idea of progress.
Yeah, they just want money, 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 and they think that's from warehouses, and warehouses.
We voted them back on the ballot.
I think some people, when they found that out the other night, regretted their votes. I just wonder if it'd be worth reaching out to the candidate that placed third to see if he'd do a write-in. Because I think at least the local party, I think, would endorse the write-in. I don't know, the local party's kind of a mess right now, so. Oh, cute birdie.
That was one of those.
Ones with the red on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red-winged blackbird.
I don't know what kind of
It had
bird.
some orange on them too, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like orange or yellow, I don't know. I've seen those around before, but I don't know what they are. That was one thing that was cool being at the polls, is being a committee woman. It was nice to talk to some people. So.
Give out some business cards?
Yeah, I gave out a few. Only for those that, were looking to stay in touch, so. Because I was battling the wind. Like, my flyers and stuff kept trying to fly away on me. About candidates running for office.
Yeah, I remember the wind was kicking up.
Yeah, so
in the afternoon.
The wind was a bit of an annoyance because I didn't bring any paperweights to hold things down. My erasers weren't heavy enough.
No, the solar folk over in Windsor had rocks.
Yeah.
Areas and rocks for their paperwork. That worked pretty good.
They said that the
constable was asking about it.
Yeah, he's like, where did these come from? Oh, on our yard. He's like, okay.
I'm not sure what he was getting at with that question.
I guess he was concerned that they dug them out of the ground or something there. I don't know.
Oh.
Because there was rocks. They were sitting on big rocks too, but they were different type.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just, I don't know. But I was worried that if I would have brought rocks to hold my stuff down, that the opposition would have twisted that somehow. So I just managed. Though we gotta fix the clipboard, because the clipboard I ended up taking ended up being the one that doesn't hold paper.
It's
So,
been overstretched or something?
Yeah, like it doesn't clamp hard enough, so I don't know if there's a way to like tighten it up.
So right here on the right is where Old 22 comes back into existence.
Yeah, we're in Bethel.
So this is Old 22 again. Another town square. It's not as obvious, but it is. Yeah, there is that one clipboard that doesn't quite work unless you got a really thick pile of papers you're clipping.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Had I realized that, I would have just like stuffed some more in there.
I don't know if you can fix that either.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still dealing with my sunburn from election day. And it's almost been 10 days almost.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So,
You know that can affect your health.
yeah, I was getting like chills from it and stuff. It was not fun. I can't help but wonder if that's part of the reason why I've just been so tired lately. It's just between running around doing everything with the campaign stuff and just
Yeah, I'm sure it's a factor. So it's good you're taking it easy. Stock up on those vitamins.
Yep. Not worth getting sick, that's for sure. This weekend's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Remembering all those who served our country. It's sad is most of the younger generation looks at it as just a weekend to party. Which is just wrong.
I think it goes back to we don't emphasize these things in school.
Yeah, we don't emphasize.
We don't teach civics.
We don't teach why we have the freedoms we have, like how we got there, to appreciate what we have compared to other people in the world. I mean, I don't have anything against people who get together on Memorial Day weekend and do barbecues and stuff. I've done it in the past, but it's a moment to reflect on, those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. There's more solar panels here on the right, too.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them, a couple groups of them.
I know that was one of the things that we did when I was in school. We actually did a Memorial Day parade, and actually did for band. And
I remember when you guys did that. Yeah.
It was something that our school purposely did to honor those that served, and we actually had a lot of veterans participate in the ceremonies and everything. It was a really cool experience.
I remember that was a beautiful day too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes Memorial Day is the beginning of the hot and humid weather.
Yeah.
It was a really nice day. It was low humidity.
Yeah. The second year, though, wasn't so good because it was rainy-ish. So that wasn't so good, at least in terms of my instrument.
Yeah. The first year, I remember we worked in a garden then, later.
Yeah.
Because your event was in the morning.
Yeah.
It was a really nice day
I forgot
outside.
about the garden part, but...
Yeah, I remember that was part of the day, that it was so nice.
Yeah.
Around the garden. It felt good.
It's just interesting. I find that the county finally put the the write-in results online late last night, because I checked before we went out last night and I didn't see them, and I checked before I went to bed and they were there, because you only get 5 days to collect your votes. You gotta petition to collect your votes, and it doesn't clarify if it's 5 business days or 5 days.
If it says 5 days, it doesn't mean 5 business days.
Yeah, so you have to assume that,
You can't file your petition on Saturday and Sunday, so...
You're stuck with doing it today.
You got 3 days.
Tomorrow and Friday. So if your candidate has a job...
Some would say that's by design.
Yeah. Well, I just find it interesting because I spoke to a lady who actually won her own write-in campaign for committee woman, and she said when she ran a few years ago, it took them a month to post the results, whereas now they did it faster, so that's kind of interesting.
So she had to file the petition with the court?
She did not, because hers is not technically a county position.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's a committee person, so it's party business versus...
So the party doesn't require it?
No. She did have to submit all the application and all that stuff, but I can't see with the poll.
Was that a case of you voted for yourself and you win?
Assuming the party finds nothing wrong with you, yes. People reach out to me saying they did exactly that, except they did not want to fill out the petition, like the form, the application. They felt the application was too invasive, too much information wanted. For those that don't know, the parties can put their own requirements as to what you have to do in order to join the party, at least in Berks County, that's how it is.
I think it's true across the board.
we're kind of all new to this, so we're kind of just learning things as we go.
The party can make any rules it wants, essentially.
Yeah. So, like, you can win a ride-in to become a committee person, or committee man, or committee woman, but if you don't fill out the rest of the requirements, then you won't get the position. I don't know. I didn't think the application was that bad, but maybe just because I have experience with our astronomy club and it was similar to our astronomy club, it didn't take me the wrong way. I don't know.
Well, I guess some people just don't want to give up that information readily, so.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting kind of scooter. He's riding a scooter that's got two wheels like a bicycle, but his foot's in between the two wheels and using his other foot to push himself around and holding it like a bicycle handlebars.
Your brother's got one of those.
I don't think so.
You ever see him ride it?
This is literally bicycle-sized wheels.
Oh, they were bicycle size.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like a handlebar, bicycle-sized, two wheels.
Is that far off the ground?
He was close to the ground. That's what was weird about it.
Oh, the wheels were high, but it was designed at the...
Yeah, his foot was low,
Okay.
but the wheels were like going up to his knee.
Well, that's interesting. I bet that makes the ride a lot nicer, too.
He's standing doing it because it's a scooter. I've never seen a scooter like that before.
I've always seen them with the smaller wheels.
Yeah, that's how I've seen them. It's always tiring.
That's probably the cheaper way to make one.
Yeah. I'm guessing it was probably homemade.
Not a bad way to travel.
No. That's something I appreciate from like the Amish and the Mennonite communities is their ingenuity in making things. They make some of the best furniture. I've seen people share some of the furniture that they've made, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And it's very nice. It's strong, durable. It doesn't have that Chinesium look. For that look that it feels like looks like plastic.
Strausstown.
I don't see anybody.
To stop too.
Does it have except right turn on it though? No, it doesn't.
It used to be. They got rid of that.
I was gonna say I thought it did.
It's confusing when you come out of town and you think, oh, this is Old 22, but the road curves to the left and Old 22 actually goes straight.
It almost looks like it might be raining up ahead.
I've been watching the weather. It looks like we could get something. Stuff seems to be brewing.
Interesting.
You look up, you see tons of power lines.
Yeah.
Lots of overhead wires here.
I missed it, but there's some of the houses along here have the long gutters.
Yeah, years ago, a lot of them just ran out onto the street with their spouting. So when it rained, it was like a waterfall coming out down to the street.
Yeah.
Our commissioner is a little slow to clean their signs up.
I saw one that looked like it got mowed accidentally back further.
Guess they got money to burn.
There's a lot of cars on the right. Got a little American flag on the motorcycle.
That was one thing I learned as a poll watcher. You're supposed to clean all that stuff up that night.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You set them up the night before or early in the morning and then clean them all up the same night. Right after this guy, it's clear from my side.
You know, at the polling place, it looked like a sign farm had grown up overnight, like mushrooms.
Yeah, I know, that's what I thought too. I couldn't believe how many signs there were. I was like, and you thought us putting our 2 signs out was bad. It was just like, yikes.
Yeah, there weren't that many when we did it the night before. They go back the next day and the whole yard is full of signs.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's like mushrooms sprouted overnight.
I just wonder, does anybody really pay attention to those signs walking in?
I saw a few people did in the borough, and then at the other one, not so much. But I also couldn't look as much because I was pretty busy all the time.
Unfortunately, we have to go through all of this because people just don't pay attention.
Yeah.
So it really comes back to the voter apathy problem. It's difficult for voters to get the information. But what do you learn from a sign?
Not much other than a name and what you're running for. You really gotta, do flyers, door knocking. You could do phone calls. Some people do texting where you send out text blasts. I know this summer, like, our candidates are gonna do like events. So like go to like your local fairs and stuff and have a table. So like people that are interested can learn more about them.
I get it. People don't want to hear that. Who wants to hear election all the time?
It's tiring. Especially if you feel like all you're doing is losing. And I think a lot of people feel that way, that they just feel like our country is just going down the tubes, and like there's not much one vote's going to do to change it. The thing is when you got tons and tons of people thinking the same thing, if you guys all switched the other way and actually did something, you could make a difference.
Well, look at that write-in campaign that we helped with. That's going to be decided by about 20 votes.
Yeah. And
so, that it mattered that people took the time to go out and do that.
And we checked some of the other races of people that we knew, and I think the one was, 1 vote?
There were not a lot of votes.
Yeah.
Especially when you have about 70% of the registered voters not voting.
Yeah. There was really low turnout. There's also some people that just don't vote in primaries, they just do November elections.
I saw one thing that was a promising small sign. It was the mail, more Republican mail-in ballots than Democrat.
Yeah.
So we need to get those numbers up.
Yeah, because there were some people who got to the polls too late at my poll that they couldn't vote.
Yeah, you actually saw that happen. The doors were locked. They couldn't vote.
Yep. As soon as 8 o'clock, I wasn't there. Partner that was there said that they locked the door, he couldn't go in. So, but had he registered for a mail-in ballot and submitted it, he could have, voted. Because what you could do is, if you don't mail in your mail-in ballot, you can turn it in and surrender it on the election day.
Well, that wouldn't have worked either. You would have been too late.
Yeah.
And you got to have those. Supposedly, they have to be delivered by closing time.
Yeah.
So you got to mail it back if you're going to do that.
Or deliver it to the courthouse, I think.
There's going to be just as much risk of not voting as not doing the mail-in, because
maybe it varies by county, like for the rules. I don't know. Because from what wasn't Scott Presser saying you could turn it in if you go there instead? But it just
you can.
Oh, here's that sign, the Looney Tunes sign.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah, that's all, folks. I'll take some pudding and some ice cream, please.
That's the best Biden sign I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only find it in Charlottesville, Pennsylvania, down the street from the former Roadside America.
Yeah, I miss that place. It was really cool. It does look like it's gonna rain. So, guess we'll see. But yeah, and to fix voter apathy, don't know. I would have thought the last 3 years would have woken people up, awakened them. I know a lot of people just want to put it all behind them, but the problem is it's not behind us. It's things that they did then, they're still trying to plan for the future. That's why we encourage people to attend, Science Uncensored by Alliance for Liberty on June 9th, because they're going to talk about, the pandemic accords that they're trying to do, which affects national sovereignty, which will affect anybody in the United States if there is a future outbreak of anything.
We got this censorship cabal, big pharma cabal.
Yep. They want to do digital ID. They want to do digital currencies. It's scary stuff. It's like having a, Chinese credit score, social credit score. I just heard France, I think it's France, that's banning short airline flights.
Are they?
Due to climate change.
Got to take the train from now on?
I don't know. It's just, they want to limit your freedoms. And it's terrifying. Take knowing Jesus seriously.
Well, maybe we can go back to sailing ships someday. We can do, a lot of people love trains, right? So
Yeah.
resurging trains.
But won't they not like trains because they run on coal? Unless they're running, I guess some of them are running on diesel.
Electric.
But
The magic energy, electric.
But you need to get electric from something.
Solar panels and windmills.
Yeah, but you gotta still harvest all those minerals and materials and process them. It's not just as simple. Like, people don't realize, like, the mines for some of these metals and such are very dirty mining operations. In a lot of places, they do horrific labor conditions too.
And this stuff, by its nature, in some respects, is just not conducive for recycling.
No.
Like the way they make these solar panels, it's hard to recycle.
And it's considered toxic waste by the EPA. You're not supposed to just throw it in a landfill.
I keep hearing about the windmill blades.
Yeah, that too. I don't know. And you also need food. You gotta have farms to grow food. No food, you're not gonna survive.
It's a nice stretch of Old 22. You down and up and down.
I know. It's
Very scenic.
Gentle roller coaster. My favorite type.
And the road's in good shape. They finally fixed it up after years of being really bumpy.
Must have been because we talked about it on the live stream. I'm joking, but it was pretty bad.
Yeah, most stretches of Old 22 are actually in pretty good shape now.
I couldn't even read the speed limit sign, stuffed in the weeds. Yeah, so if anybody has any ideas on how to make voters less apathetic, hit me up in the comments, because I don't know. I've been trying to brainstorm how you get people more involved, and I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I don't know if I have an answer either. I think part of the solution is to make the information more available. Somehow to find a way that people can access information. Because we would run into a number of people that would say that they're doing their research. Maybe that was just to dismiss you, but I think some people do try.
They seemed earnest about wanting to do the research, so.
I'm not sure where you're going to find it.
I guess you look at candidates' websites. For our county commissioner race, that was some of the issues that people brought up. Is like the two that were running against the incumbents as a pair, nobody could find information about them. And then the other guy you could find information about, which
shaking his arm or something.
Yeah.
It's like, ow, my arm hurts.
Unless he was like shaking something out of something in his hand.
I don't know. It was interesting.
Weird.
At first, I thought he was waving at us.
Yeah. But the other candidate that got third place in the votes did have a website, I think. Information that you could find online. So.
You know, we were so busy with the campaigning that even we didn't get a chance to do a lot of research.
True. We kind of already knew who we were voting for, though, based on hearing them speak at various events, though. So, like, that's another form of research.
Yeah.
That we did rather than, like, online research. We did in-person research.
I mean, you actually met a number of candidates that you got to vote for.
Yeah. I got to...
In statewide elections, which was really neat.
Yeah. That was really cool. Like, the judges were really cool.
I mean, personally had conversations with these folks.
Yeah.
There was at least 3 judges that we had conversations with.
Mm-hmm.
That were running for a statewide office.
Yeah. That was neat. That was really cool. That's one thing I do like about being on the committee is we do get to hear these people talk. Most of them, you know. So it is cool to hear it from their mouth rather than just reading it on a website. Because sometimes they'll say things that they don't normally say in a smaller group setting, you know. It's more intimate versus just being on a website. Sometimes they do like questions and answers too.
So our friend that was running for supervisor here in Tilden Township didn't quite get enough votes. Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, she was a few short, unfortunately. I think it was 6, if I recall correctly. It was really close, though.
So we're almost into Hamburg now. This is the township building for Tilden.
We go past that guy's yard sign. That was really cool. Oh, maybe they did.
There is a Biden sign up there on the hill.
It says Joe Biden sucks. They had one.
Is that the one you were talking about?
They had one closer to the road right there, but I'm guessing with the mowing, they took it down temporarily. I don't remember what it said, though.
We call this part West Hamburg.
Yeah.
It's a restaurant down the road here that stayed open, I think, during the pandemic.
They stayed open for most of it.
I guess they had to shut down for a little bit.
Yeah. They had limited hours, though.
But they tried to do what they could to
Fight it, yeah.
It was a mask-free zone, wasn't it? They didn't enforce the mask mandates.
Yeah. It's like wear one if you want to wear one.
There's a nice shot of Blue Mountain.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Pulpit Rock and the Pinnacle. Left and right sides. Is this place coming up here on the right?
Yeah, the Westie. Bar and Grill. One of these days we should go there. Oh, look at this car. Oh, I'm not sure it's actually a car. Different type of tricycle.
It's got a plate.
Does it really?
It had a plate on it, yeah.
Oh, wow. He looked like he was wearing a really funky looking helmet. Like a ATV helmet. Oh, that's right. The Hamburg Family Festival is Memorial Day weekend. I forgot. That's when they set up all the little rides for the kids in the park.
Ah.
It's Thursday to Sunday. Free admission, rides, and music.
We don't get over to the park too much.
Nah, I used to back when I used to play Pokemon Go, but I gave that up when I decided to get more involved with my community. So what little time I have is either going to meetings or reading books. Which I've been learning a lot reading books, so that's a good use of time.
Yeah, you got quite the library going.
I got quite the book list to get through too. It's ever growing. So, I mean, what I'm reading right now is
The Coddling of the American.
it's by Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt. I hope I didn't butcher that. It's called The Coddling of the American Mind: How Good Intentions and Bad Ideas Are Setting Up a Generation for Failure. It's something that was recommended in a book. That's really fascinating. So when it went on sale, it's like, I gotta buy it. So I'm about halfway through it already. Maybe a little more than half. But it talks about the differences in the generations of kids. You know, basically the millennials versus the new I generation or Generation Z. I'm not sure what they call the latest generation.
The snowflake generation.
It really talks about the culture of safetyism, which has really been something we've been noticing everywhere. But the authors specifically are talking about it because they work on college campuses, how they're seeing it on college campuses, how things have really changed. Like having safe spaces and how kids don't like certain words or phrases. And it's really interesting.
Instead of being exposed to multiple ideas and then having your boundaries tested, just wrap themselves in a cocoon.
Or an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And if you try to bring alternative views, they'll protest and sometimes get, violent, which is scary. The college is where you're supposed to learn to be exposed to different viewpoints.
That used to be where you would go.
Now I don't think you can get it at most schools. They're censoring the opposing views.
Did they give you a discount for your shortchanged education?
I doubt it. I think you meant indoctrination, though, not education.
Windsor Township.
it's bad. They talk in the book about how free speech on campus is really bad. They have a group they're part of called FIRE to help represent First Amendment rights for people on colleges' campuses. You know, teachers, you know, assistants, staff, students. It's rough.
FIRE is kind of the replacement for the ACLU. Now that the ACLU only supports leftists.
Yeah.
The ACLU used to represent everybody, but now they only represent leftists.
There's going to be anybody. It's a shame that we can't just agree to disagree anymore. People just want to attack each other. It's like, what happened to having a good debate? Just say, okay, I disagree with you on that. Let's move on to the next point, you know? These ad hominem attacks and just bullying. It's just...
There's Spitzenberg Hill through the power lines. Looking really dark that way.
Yeah, I think it's raining over there. It looks worse when I take off my blue filtered glasses. It looks a lot darker. This is the little town of Edinburgh. We are lucky that we have like our hometown heroes, some of them represented on our polls. We also have that in Kutztown as well. I think Hamburg has it as well on some of the streets.
Time to wrap up, I'd say.
Yeah, it's been a long day, but it's been exciting. Good to catch up with our viewers and let them know what we've been up to, because we've been a little bit MIA on the streaming. But hopefully you guys will understand once you watch these videos. Again, a reminder, the Lions for Liberty event, Science Uncensored, is on June 9th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. in Grantville, Pennsylvania. If you want tickets, there's still some left. You go to lionsforliberty.com and you can find all the information on there. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a great